What is up, besties? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Scotty Holiday. I'm a queer creator and a huge Star Wars nerd, so if you're into either one of those things, please consider subscribing for more. Today we got chapter 20 of The Mandalorian season 3 called The Foundling, and while this episode spent a lot of time with the Children of the Watch, we finally got to see who rescued Grogu during Order 66, or at least the beginning of the story. But before I get into my thoughts on the episode, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment letting me know your thoughts on chapter 20. I'm putting out weekly reviews for each new episode of The Mandalorian season 3, and I was also a guest on the Bombad cast this week talking everything chapter 20 as well. You can check out both of those videos along with all my Mando content at the link in the cards and the description as well. Now let's get into this review. Chapter 20 opens on the unnamed desert planet at the hideout of the Children of the Watch, and we see a huge montage of the covert training with different types of weapons, from blasters to flamethrowers, vibroblades, jetpacks, and even hand-to-hand combat as Bo-Katan walks around observing and taking it all in. Din takes Grogu to learn with the other Foundlings as a challenger in the battle circle, with everyone, including Bo, Ragnar, the kid from the premiere, and the circle judge questioning the idea, but Din insists Grogu has to learn. Grogu and Ragnar suit up with their training darts, with Ragnar hitting Grogu point blank for the first 2 rounds as Grogu just stood there, leaving only 1 round left. Din gives Grogu a little pep talk saying, "I've seen what you can do, it's okay, show them." And once the round is called, Grogu flips over Ragnar and back in front of him, hitting him with all 3 darts and winning the challenge. The flipping looked a little cringy to me, but that's just a little nitpick. My favorite part was Ragnar asking Din why Grogu didn't wear a helmet, which is exactly what I was thinking up until this point since the Children of the Watch are so anal about their helmet rule, but Din explains it's because Grogu is too young to speak the creed. Ragnar goes off on his own to pout by the lake, but out of nowhere a flying creature they refer to as a raptor swoops in, grabbing Ragnar and flying off with him in its talon. Din, Paz Vizsla, and a few other Mandos go after the creature via jetpack, but eventually run out of fuel due to the far distance. Luckily, Bo isn't far behind and continues trailing the creature in the gauntlet to locate its nest. These scenes of the Mandos chasing the raptor through the mesas looked really great. So far, season 3 is killing these flying action scenes, and this is only the first one we get in this episode. Once Bo returns, her, Din, Paz, and the Armorer devise a plan to rescue the Foundling, leaving the Armorer and Grogu behind as they head off with some additional Mandos on the rescue mission. From here, Grogu follows the Armorer into the cave to the Forge, where she explains their culture, the meaning of the Forge, and their armor, as we see a montage of her forging a new piece. Similar to Din's flashbacks in season 1, the pounding of the Forge transitions us into a flashback, but this time for Grogu, to the night of Order 66 at the Jedi Temple. The flashback begins with 4 Jedi in front of a door standing guard as the 501st clones cut their way through. One of the Jedi yells, "Get him to Kelleran," as the clones begin firing on them, holding out long enough to get Grogu safely to a nearby elevator. Once the elevator door opens, Grogu is greeted by Jedi Master Kelleran Beck, and after fending off some additional clones, the 2 of them make their way to a nearby speeder into the Coruscant Skylanes. Kelleran Beck is a character created for the Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge web series played by Ahmed, marking this his 3rd canon Star Wars character after Ahmed Beck and the iconic Jar Jar Binks. They're pursued by 2 Republic gunships in a really amazing chase sequence that felt right on par with the chase at the beginning of Attack of the Clones, and it just made me so happy to see Republic gunships back on my screen again. Speaking of Attack of the Clones, Tamara Morrison also returned to voice the clones in this episode. After evading the gunships and flying through Monument Plaza, Beck and Grogu make their way to a landing platform, meeting a group of Royal Naboo security force guards and a parked Naboo cruiser. Another Republic gunship arrives bringing in more clones, but the guards hold them off, allowing Master Beck and Grogu to take off in the cruiser, making their way off the planet and into hyperspace. I had no idea who Kelleran Beck was when I first heard the name, but once I saw the character, I knew exactly who he was. I'm so happy that Ahmed Best really got his time to shine in Star Wars in this episode, and I really hope he gets to reprise the role of Jar Jar as well. I definitely think there's still more to Grogu's rescue from what we saw, especially after the explicit use of the Naboo guards and cruiser, but this is all we've got for now. Hopefully we won't have to wait another season for more. Of course, I'm sad it wasn't Jedi Master Terrace Sinube, which I made a whole video about that you can check out in the cards, but I'm content with the inclusion of Kelleran Beck. Were you happy to see Keller and Beck, and do you think we'll see more of Grogu's rescue in the future? Let me know down in the comments below. From there, we're brought back to the current timeline with Grogu and the Armorer as she presents him with his next piece of Mandalorian armor, and this moment actually made me a little emotional too. We catch up with Bo, Din, Paz, and the other Mandos on their mission as they land near the Raptor's nest, continuing on foot and making camp for the night. As they pass out food, Bo asks Din how they go about eating when others are around, and we learn that the Children of the Watch have to find a place where they can take off their helmet without being seen before they can actually start eating. This got the biggest eye roll from me, but Bo abides by their rules, attempting to go off on her own, and is stopped by Paz. He says since she's the leader of the war party, she has the honor of staying by the fire to eat. I honestly expected a little more animosity between Bo and Paz due to their house's history, but he's surprisingly super respectful of her. So Bo sits back down and removes her helmet for the first time since leaving Mandalore, and I finally feel like we get to see how she's doing in this moment. She honestly looks kind of lonely, and I imagine she is, since this is probably the first time she's been by herself and alone with her thoughts since the events of Chapter 18. She spoke to Din about wanting to reunite the Mandalorian clans, but how can she do that when the members of the Children of the Watch won't even eat together? The next morning, Bo and the other Mandos go over the plan and begin climbing the side of the mesa up to the Raptor's nest at the highest peak. As we watch them make their way up to the top, I was a little nervous someone was gonna fall or do something alerting the creature of their presence, but they surprisingly made it all in one piece. From here, we learn that the Foundling Ragnar is actually Paz Vizsla's son, and of course he runs straight into the nest at the first scan of a heat source, only to be met by 3 baby raptors, which ultimately alerts the mama raptor of their presence. She coughs up Ragnar, who's still alive, trying to feed him to the babies, but Paz intervenes, causing the creature to fly off with Ragnar in its grasp. The Mandos all take off on their jetpacks, and our third and final chase ensues. Since they can't use any blasters or explosives against the raptor to keep Ragnar safe, the Mandos have to improvise, using cables and vibroblades to take the creature down. Bo even loses one of her pauldrons during the battle. Once the creature has had enough, Din saves Ragnar from falling to his death as the raptor plummets to the water below, and we get a great scene reminding everyone,
"There's always a bigger fish."
Once they arrive back to the covert with Ragnar, the Armorer tells Bo that she's honored her house and Mandalore, saying she has done the highest honor of the Creed by saving a Foundling, and I thought it's about time someone gives Bo her flowers. We also find out that they brought the 3 baby raptors back with them too. The Armorer notices Bo's pauldron missing and offers to forge her a new one, but when she asks about adding a night owl signet, Bo curiously asks to have it inlaid with the mythosaur skull. As she forges the new pauldron, Bo asks the Armorer what she would say if Bo told her she saw a mythosaur. The Armorer says she's very lucky, believing the mythosaur sighting to be a noble vision, but Bo flat out tells her about the mythosaur she saw beneath the living waters. The Armorer says, when you choose to walk the way of the Mandalore, you will see many things. Bo insists that the mythosaur was real, but all the Armorer says in return is, this is the way, and that's the end of the episode. So now the Armorer knows that Bo saw a mythosaur beneath the living waters, and we know that Jedi Master Keller and Beck was the one to rescue Grogu from the Jedi Temple during Order 66. I don't think this is the end of Grogu's rescue, and I think this is just the beginning of Bo's mythosaur arc. I also want to know who wanted to have a child with Paz Vizsla, and the chaotic part of me thinks it could be the Armorer. Personally, I'm getting pretty tired of the Children of the Watch and the Armorer, and I wasn't excited that this episode spent a lot of time with them. I was hoping we'd see Din move on from them this season, but not only is he very much still into the cult, he's now dragged Bo into it with him. I also feel like I need to come out and say that I want Bo-Katan to rule Mandalore in the end. This season of The Mandalorian is kind of giving Game of Thrones if you think about it. But what did you think of Chapter 20, and who do you want to see rule Mandalore in the end? Let me know down in the comments below or hit me up on Twitter so we can chat more about it together. Please consider checking out all my Mandalorian videos at the link in the description and on the end screen of this video as well. I really appreciate all of your support. To keep up with all my Star Wars content, make sure to subscribe and consider following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Scotty Holiday SW for all my latest updates. Thank you as always for watching, and may the Force be with you.